Jazakumullahu khairan to Hafiz Hassan Sahib for reciting verses of the Quran Kareem. These verses were regarding our aqidah of Isa alayhi salam. That we believe Isa alayhi salam to be the servant of Allah, Abdullah, and he is not the son of Allah, Ibnullah. As Muslims, we believe Isa alayhi salam, he was sent and he was the last and final messenger of the Banu Israel, and he was raised into the heavens and he is alive there, and before the end of time Allah will send him and he will have a battle with Dajjal and he will kill Dajjal and then he will pass away and die his natural death, and he will be buried next to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So this is our aqidah about Isa alayhi salam. This area that we have our masjid in, Iqra Masjid, it was predominantly, still kind of is, more of a mixture now, but it was more of an area where there were non-Muslims living, more of the indigenous population, the white population. And there was maybe handful, one or two Muslim families here and there. All of these houses that when you drive up on the left-hand side, they were not built, it was just empty land. And I used to come to school, this Hansen school that's up here, and when we used to catch a bus to come, that was the only way. Then from the bus, just at the bus stop here, all the builders used to come off. They used to come off and they were building them houses. This is 1993 maybe, or 1994. There were only a handful of Muslims even in Hansen school. We have started from year 9, and then it went 9A, 9B, 9C. Every year, every class had at least 30 students, and when mine was 9P. So you can imagine how big the school was and how many students they took. But out of all the students, there were only a handful Muslims. And this school, when we came to first, was the first time me, myself, and majority of my friends had the first interaction with white people. We had teachers who were, white, but this was the first time in our class. Next to us on the next table, on the next chair, there was somebody, or most 90% of the class were not Muslims and were not Asians, and we were not used to that. It was very difficult to adapt and change, and we don't know what's the norm, what they accept, etc. Anyway, why I'm mentioning all this is there used to be assemblies in the morning, and in one assembly they gave a pocket-sized Bible to every student free of charge. Pocket-sized Bible to every student free of charge. Where the Bible was set out in this pocket-sized version, that at the back there was a list of all the difficulties that a person might be going through or could go through. So if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling happy, if there's a bereavement, and it used to say which passage you can go to and read to console yourself. And this was being given to everybody, even the Muslim students as well, a Bible, that this has the answer to everything. And at that time, we had no knowledge. We were just going to school. The most we did was went to Maktab in the evening. And we had no knowledge. So we looked at the Bible, we read different places, and there were quite a lot of good messages there as well. Obviously, we believe that the Injil is sent by Allah, was sent by Allah, and we believe in the Injil as well. It's mentioned in the Quran. But the original version that was sent by Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, that's the version we believe in. So it had some very good messages. But then when I went to madrasa, when I went to boarding institute and I was studying, and I thought that, look how far we were, that I have to come to a madrasa to understand that all this goodness that I found or I saw written in a Bible is actually mentioned in the Quran and is mentioned in the Hadith as well. But I had to go to a religious institute, a boarding institute, and I had to study all this to realize and to conclude that. If I didn't, then I would have still believed that yes, Quran has the answer to everything. But if somebody said to me, show it to me, I wouldn't be able to show it because I didn't have that knowledge. But Quran-e-Kareem and the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has the answer or guidance to the answer for any problem that we may be having in our life. Sometimes, and as a human being, we will go through difficulties. As a human being, we will go through difficulties in this life. Whether that's difficulty is somebody passing away, and that's a phase of our life that we have to overcome. We will miss our father, miss our mother, miss our brother, whoever has passed away. Whether it's a divorce in someone's life, it's a phase in a person's life, whether they have been diagnosed with an illness. So we will go through difficulties in our lives. But where do we find the answer or the solution? Meaning a way, a remedy, some kind of medicine, or something that we can read and console ourselves. Something that we can read and comfort ourselves. That you will find in the Quran-e-Kareem, and that you will find in the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Let me give you one or two examples. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says, وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ وَالصَّلَاةِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الصَّابِرِينَ. وَاسْتَعِينُوا means that when you are in need of help, then seek help through salat and patience. Bis-sabri, patience, and salat, meaning prayer. Seek Allah's help, meaning ask Allah to guide you, ask comfort from Allah at a moment of difficulty and hardship through sabr and through salat. About destiny, many people, they find it hard to believe in what has happened to them. But if we try to understand that through taqdeer, and Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala says, قُلْ لَن يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا, that say, does not happen in our life except what Allah has decreed and what Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has destined. This is another way of comforting ourselves and managing that state we are in. But the failure is that we don't educate ourselves with the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and therefore we don't know where to turn to, and we don't know who to turn to, we don't know what to do in those scenarios. So we should increase in educating ourselves with the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this is referred to as Sirat, the Sirat of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Siratul Nabi, the life of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The more we study, the more we read, the more we will increase in the love of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and this love is going to help us to find solutions to our problems from his life. Inshallah, to mention and speak about Siratul Nabi, our honorable guest, like I've already mentioned before, he is my teacher, and currently he is a lecturer at a university and also in various different institutes teaching books of ahadith and tafsir. And I am going to inshallah invite Hazrat Dr. Maulana Mahmood Chandiya Sahib to come and deliver his speech.